is. I'm dizzy now. This is DJI's brand new $1,000 drone, the DJI Mini Pro 4. And it is by far their most advanced mini drone yet. And I'm going to be comparing it against this, their very first mini drone. That's now only $200. And I'm putting them to the test to see just how far these mini drones have come. My name is Andrew. Welcome to the Lens Rentals channel. On camera, the specs aren't even really that fair, but we've got to compare the two. And here's the thing, it's really easy to get caught up with the specs on paper, but sometimes we're surprised by the products that are put out, and just because they may not be great on paper doesn't mean they're great in practical application. So let's start with the OG Mini Drone. We're looking at max speeds here. Horizontal speed, 29 miles per hour. The maximum ascent speed is 9 miles per hour. The maximum descent speed is 6.6 miles per hour. Its wind resistance is up to 21.7 miles per hour. And its max flight time on one battery is 30 minutes. I remember when this first came out, I was so excited for the size, the portability, and also kind of combating against some of those new regulations that a lot of us drone flyers faced all those years ago. Moving on to the 4, its maximum ascent and descent speed is 11.2 miles per hour. Its maximum wind resistance is 23.9 miles per hour. Its maximum flight time is 34 minutes, and its max hover time is 30 minutes. So you can see clearly it's faster, better, stronger. So here's something I found pretty interesting. Both of these guys, the OG Mini and the Mini Pro 4, are light. They're both under 249 grams, but check this out. The new Mini Pro is larger, the same size, and faster. DJI is getting better and better. All right, so another notable thing about both of these drones are the controllers, and I cannot stress how much I love the new Mavic controllers. And these came out with the Mavic Pro 3, but it's just awesome. I mean, look at this thing. This thing is just everything you could possibly need with a drone controller. You have a built-in screen right here. It feels nice and big in the hands compared to the OG controller, which is this right here, a very tiny controller that you need to connect your phone to. And let me tell you, I have lost connection. This thing has not been great with my phone. Also, you have to rely on a phone battery, which is never reliable. This thing alone has been a huge upgrade, and I love it. I just want to kiss it. I shouldn't kiss rental gear. Let's get these drones up in the air. So we ran into a little bit of technical difficulty. I ran out of light the day that I wanted to fly, and then the weather dropped. More than 40 degrees. It's cold now. I was complaining about the heat earlier, and now I'm happy and I'm freezing. But let's get these drones up in the air. Starting with the Mavic Mini Pro 4. To home feature on the Mini Pro 4. Great in concept, but unfortunately it seems to be afraid that the area is not good enough for it. So I'm gonna have to bring it down here and we should be good to go. Obviously, one of the huge perks of the Mini Pro 4 is the ability to go completely vertical with your video. With a press of a button, you have vertical video. It's a fantastic feature. The other feature I really enjoy is with another press of the button, you can go completely 90 degrees down so you can see immediately what you're looking at, or if you want to get a shot quickly that is below you, you can simply press it. A few other perks that I really enjoy about the DJI Mini Pro 4 is in how you can collapse the drone. You see, in past iterations, you had to follow a certain pattern to open up the wings, and this one, no matter what you do, no matter which one you close first, it works, and no matter which one you open first, it works and is ready to fly. There was a moment when I was flying over here by these trees, and once again, this is where DJI really has just stepped up their game. You see, we have sensors on the front, on the sides, and underneath of this drone that allow for object avoidance, and that is a wonderful option to have when you're focused on getting your shot and you don't want your drone to go crashing into a tree. Let's get the OG Mini out and then we can compare images back in the studio. this is something that I would not be willing to risk with a rental drone, but this is my drone. I want to show you I am having a far harder time not only controlling the drone, but also handling the wind. The DJI OG Mini just cannot handle high wind gusts. As you can see right here, not meant for really any wind, while the DJI Mini Pro 4 never barked at me once for this. Now, one thing I can do with this drone that I didn't try with the other one because of all the sensors was the air drone grab. So bring it down, grab it to the front, and it turns off just like that. The other thing I want to make note is that on this drone, right here are the only two sensors that you have, meaning that there's no side obstacle avoidance. I actually crashed this drone when I first got it. The little leg was broken off completely, and it's because I couldn't see what I was going to run into. As I mentioned before, the experience using the phone with this controller is not ideal. I will say that I'm using the iPhone 12 Pro Max, and because of the large screen, it does feel better than what I used to use. I used to use a smaller phone, but also these large phones didn't exist when this drone came out, so this controller doesn't fit it well. You can see that it's supposed to fit nice and snug in these grooves, and it just simply isn't. So after flying both of these drones, I think it's very clear that DJI has really come a long way. And the gap between the Mini Pro 4 and the OG is substantial. Comparing the footage and photos, it's really interesting to see how DJI has almost broadened their audience with the Mini line. The OG Mini seems very much for hobbyists and people who are just kind of getting their feet wet when it comes to aerial photography and videography, while the Mini Pro 4 has a lot of really professional settings that you only used to be able to find in their top-of-the-line drones. I think the addition of D-Log in the newer drone models, while also making the floor to becoming a drone flyer a lot easier with the multiple sensors, allows beginners, intermediates, and professionals to pick up the DJI Mini Pro 4 and capture beautiful images with their drone. The one thing I will say is that while I wasn't able to shoot RAW, I feel like the photos still hold up a little bit. It's essentially like bringing your iPhone to the sky or your full-frame mirrorless camera. I mean, looking at the OG, we have a 12 megapixel censored camera at f2.8. It can only shoot up to 2K, which I feel like was completely acceptable when it first came out. The sensor resolution on the new drone, the Mini Pro 4, is far more impressive at 48 megapixels. We're also working with an aperture of f1.7. And I will say that the Mini Pro 4's range of motion, where the camera can angle, is far wider horizontally as well as vertically than the OG Mini. The last upgrade that I will say really shows you how far DJI has come is with their internal storage. Now, it's only 2 gigabytes in the Mini Pro 4. And I can almost imagine them increasing that internal storage to have multiple options for us as drone flyers. Almost like when you're trying to buy a computer. Do I want 8 gigabytes of RAM or do I want 16 gigabytes of RAM? Do I want 2 gigs or 32 gigs of internal storage? I could really see that becoming a feature down the line. Not having to worry about those micro SD cards is great. So you guys have it, a $200 drone versus a $1,000 drone. I hope this one really showed you just how far DJI has come and just how valuable their mini drone line is. If you have a Mini 3, or if you're thinking about upgrading, I don't know if it would be worth it. I took the Mini Pro 3 with me to Iceland, rented it here at Lens Rentals, and honestly, it was awesome. I loved it. So that will definitely get the job done, but if you want to play with the newest toy, you know where to pick it up. Rent it from us, save some money, and until then, I will see you in the next one. All right, peace.